Hey friends, got a great show for you today. I'm fresh. I'm fresh off of my tour of the Middle East where we saw the real Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia. And so I just wanted to dive back in with my friend from Discovered Media, Andrew Jones, the one and only. We've got him on the show today, but talking to you about the other portion of the tours that he does that I didn't get to go on for Noah's Ark. Yes, the one and only Noah's Ark that rests in modern-day Turkey. Eastern Turkey, the mountains of Ararat. So I got Andrew Jones live on the show today from Turkey. He's going to tell you all about it, the renovations he's been doing there at the visitor center, some cool stuff, real cool stuff. Here we go. All right, guys, we're back. I'm so excited to be here with you. I just can't even tell you how excited I am to be here with you today. Lots of fun stuff been going on. I also have something special that I'm offering those of you who are supporters of this ministry, partners with this ministry, because there is a dollar amount involved in what we do. It takes funding for us to put the show on, to do a lot of the things that we do. Gospel Ministries, actually, which is my ministry, we actually support missionaries who are spreading and sharing the gospel and helping with church plants all around the world. We also donate Bibles to new believers and to churches who do the same. So that's just part of what we do. And if you are going to consider partnering with us for a dollar amount of any kind, you can do that at pastoraj.com and just click the link right on the homepage that says Partner with Pastor AJ. I was trying to think of a fun way to involve you in this incredible tour that I just went on in the Middle East. And what I did was I brought a bunch of rocks back from the summit of Sinai. They're super cool. You could see that they're blackened and from the presence of God, and that there's, on the other side, they're actually a different color. And that's the way a lot of them are up there. You kind of peel the rock off, and it's actually a different color underneath. It looks like it was burned from above, just like it says in the Bible. And there is also sand from the site of the Red Sea crossing. This was not bought in a tourist shop. I actually got this stuff myself. I put it in these nice little bottles for you. There's sand from both the Saudi side and the Egyptian side. Just a tremendous reminder of God's blessing, but you will get those in this nice little pouch as a reminder of all the incredible things that God does for partnering with us during the month of December for a dollar amount of any kind. Having said that, I do want to jump right into our show because we've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And I'm inviting my friend back. He's been on several times, but he also just led me on a tour of the Middle East. So super cool dude. I think you all know him. This is the one and only Andrew Jones. Andrew, welcome back to the show, my friend. And looking good there with your Skype background.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, I am not in Turkey.
You had me fooled.
No.
You needed a fan. Turkey. I'm telling you, if you had a fan of some kind blowing, it would have
maybe
fooled
some birds
everybody.
Flying behind my head. But I'm still in Turkey, but I thought it'd be a better background than my hotel room.
Well, it's all good, man. I'm excited to have you on the show again, and great to see you.
Thank you.
I'm excited for the people to get to, just kind of hear about all the stuff that you're doing. I did want to, just kind of say, hey, man, it's great to get a chance to talk with you again. I think this is our first time talking face to face since the trip. The trip was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I've showed our audience, our people, pictures of everything. Me and my son went on this thing together. It was just absolutely incredible. Life-changing. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And just more convinced than ever that Sinai is in Saudi Arabia. It's just really hard for me to see it any other way. We went to the traditional Sinai in what's now called the Sinai Peninsula, even though it wasn't back in Moses' day, known as the Sinai Peninsula. And, I just don't see 2 million people fitting in those cavernous canyons. It just doesn't seem like a location that works for me. Plus, you don't have really a good Red Sea crossing if you're in the Sinai Peninsula. So just more convinced than ever for other reasons than that as well, that this is Sinai. It fits what the Bible says. So just an incredible trip. I mean, it was lots of fun. And I just wanted to, thank you again for showing us around. Any any plugs for people? Any reason they should join you
Yeah.
on one other than just listening to me? And
Well,
where do
no,
they
I'm
go?
glad you guys.
How do they
Yeah, if they
sign
would
up?
like to check out the tour, we do have a March tour coming up, and it does include Egypt. So you can go to discoveredsinai.com and click on the tours menu, and from there you can sign up. Our next one is March, and yes, we have a 1 week tour of ancient Egypt in the Exodus route to the Red Sea crossing. And then we have another week in Saudi Arabia as we investigate the route of the Exodus from the Red Sea to the real Mount Sinai.
That's awesome. Yeah, just amazing. I know that we actually went with a different group, although we connected when we got to Israel because you in March will you be going to Israel or no?
No,
Okay.
just yeah, Egypt and Saudi Arabia.
Just Egypt and Saudi, just so it's just the Sinai portion. But it's honestly that's really that's what it was all about for me. Was that part, so hey, jump into a tour with Andrew. He's a really fun guy to go on a trip with.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I almost felt at times, Andrew, like I was kind of. It reminded me of the days when I was a youth pastor, and I led missions trips to different parts of the world. And I felt like you almost like were like, not that I believe in reincarnation, but I felt like you were a youth pastor in your former life. I brought my teenager with me. You always were incredibly fun to be around. And this is my plug for Andrew because I think you're just a super cool guy.
Yeah, he
You made things
rode in
fun.
my car. He ditched your car.
He did. We were not cool enough for him. He's
Yeah,
like, I want to
no,
ride in
but
Andrew's
we had a
car
great group though.
because Andrew's fun.
Well, no, we
And
had a great group. I don't know what to say. We had 27 people, so one of my largest tours.
yeah,
But it was amazing the experiences we saw there and went through, and just having everyone experience what the Israelites felt. I mean,
yeah.
people were complaining about the food, and
Yes, yes. I mean, the mixed grill. That was our. That's what you get is mixed grill and mixed
yeah,
grill.
and that one hotel
But it was
in
good.
St.
I liked it.
Catharines. Remember that
Yeah.
hotel? We'll never forget.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm sure you won't be staying there again.
No, that was just a trial run.
A trial run. But you made it fun. I mean, that's the key. And for reasons like this, I'm going to show you what my son, the shenanigans that he was up to on the trip, and why I felt like Andrew, you didn't kick us off the tour when he did this to you.
Oh no, yeah. I remember those
We've got a
videos.
picture of you with your tongue hanging out. It's actually a
No, that's
Snapchat
not my
filter.
filter.
Yeah, and if you, this is just an image, but the real, it's actually a video what my son shot, and so he was actually doing this to everybody. Like you couldn't fall asleep because then you would
No.
like I did. I fell asleep, and he's got a picture of me. Looks like I'm licking my neck pillow, and I mean it was just really honestly.
Oh, man.
And then there was Humden. He got Humden, and this was like our favorite. I mean, like the way he was putting his fingers in front of his mouth, and then the tongue is
The
coming
best.
out. I mean, it was absolutely
Yeah.
hysterical, But
He was our guide in the Sinai Peninsula for the camel ride.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. Tremendous guy, and it was just really it's hard to express how amazing and how memorable all of this was. The camel ride was incredible that we did there with Humden. But again, I just felt like you were an awesome host, especially bringing my teenage son with me. You made it a lot of fun, and so I just appreciate everything you're doing. And I guess like kind of moving on to what we wanted to get into today. This is a part of your tours. You're not doing it in March, but you did do it in October, and I know you'll be doing it again. People can just follow along on the website to see when you'll offer it next. You actually do a tour of Noah's Ark, and you start off where you live in eastern Turkey. You start there, so you don't start at the Exodus and trace the route of the Hebrews through the Sinai Peninsula, through the ancient land of
We go
Midian
back
and
to the
northwest Saudi
beginning.
Arabia. You go back to the beginning. Yeah. Are you going to be
Yeah.
offering a tour after this where you go back to creation?
Yeah,
Like,
we're trying to think of it
in
as maybe
space?
once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, once a year probably, because that's a big tour. It's a month long.
Yeah.
But you can hop on and hop off, I guess.
Okay.
But we
Not
would
the
like to
space
do
tour,
that.
but this is the actual Noah's Ark portion.
Yeah. So the Noah's Ark one though, we do in the summer months, like once or twice a month throughout the summer. So we'll
Okay.
have new dates set pretty soon for the summer 2023.
Yeah.
And we also throw in southern Turkey, where some believe Abraham came from. It's the northern proposed location for Ur. And you have with not the Israelites, but Noah and his descendants. After the flood, they followed the river valley system all the way down to the plains of Shinar, to Mesopotamia. And so that all starts in southern Turkey.
Yeah.
So you have modern day Haran, which is the same site of ancient Haran down there, Jacob's Well. So a lot of biblical history in Turkey. And so we try to hit the highlights during these trips.
Yeah, that's really cool. And in one part that in talking to some of the people in our group that had been with you before I got joined the tour in Egypt, they were mentioning things that they got to see in eastern Turkey. I'm forgetting how far eastern Turkey is. I'm almost thinking it's directly north of Israel. No, it's like northeast of Israel. And
Yeah.
you have Haran, you have all these other sort of biblical things there, where Laban lived, and Laban was up there in Haran, right?
Yep. And that's
And
where Isaac got his wife
yeah,
and Jacob got his wives. So yeah.
so you get to see all of really. There's so much biblical history you get to see on one of these tours that somebody would do with you, and of course the Sinai portion is incredible. You're seeing a lot of untouched areas. It's
Yeah.
not, you don't have the
That's the
commercial
favorite part
feel.
of the tour, actually.
Yeah.
Besides, you being in Eastern Turkey, which is really rugged, and this is where civilization restarted. But going down to see the real Mount Sinai and the deserts of Arabia, very exotic, untouched areas. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I guess like give us a little bit of a history as to why this is considered Noah's Ark, because that's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of the seller. I mean, obviously people they hear this is Noah's Ark, and you actually you've been renovating a visitor center there and all that stuff, which we'll get to. But like, why do we think this is Noah's Ark? Why do a lot of people celebrate it that way? I mean, I believe the Turkish government at one point recognized it as Noah's Ark. Like, give us a little bit of a history there.
Yeah, so the site was first discovered in 1959, September 11, 1959, by a local, a Turkish army captain. He was working in the mapping division with the Turkish military, and he discovered, while looking over these aerial photographs, a boat shape in the mountains of Ararat.
Yikes!
And so, yeah, it's perfect boat shape. It hit the news about a week later, but the first photos were published in October 1959. And that got Americans involved. So by June of 1960, an American Turkish expedition went out to the site and they investigated on the ground. Now, most of them came back negative. They thought, well, because it was mainly dirt on top. You still had the boat formation, but they wasn't sure like how did it got there, and so they left. But it wasn't until the 1970s that another American got involved, Ron Wyatt, who's kind of the main guy in the modern era who pushed for the site to be further researched and did a lot of his own research on it, and that got the Turkish scientists involved. So starting in 1985, the Turks started investigating it, and then by 1988 they built the visitor center and declared it a park. And so that's what you have today there. We started our own modern investigations in 2019 with the History Channel filming, and then later we had Discovery's Science Channel there. And so, yeah, we were doing mainly geophysical surveys. So the couple of the highlights I should say, number one, it's a boat formation. It's very unique. You don't have these boats just all over the place.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
that caught
yeah.
the attention
It's
of
not
the
in my
press and
backyard.
the
I don't have a boat shaped
scientists.
formation in my backyard.
Yeah, and so you have a boat formation. So okay, what is it? Then when they go to measure it, it's actually the size of the
Yeah,
biblical ark,
coincidentally.
300 royal Egyptian cubits. So
Yeah,
it's the same size, and you have a boat there, and it's in the mountains of Ararat, so it's in the correct
yeah.
location. So that got people interested to start doing scientific studies on the site, including taking soil samples, which showed a higher carbon content, which could indicate decayed, organic material like wood. And we know the ark was built of wood. And then you have local traditions in the area about Noah and the flood. Um, and then you start looking at the geophysical surveys. These are non-destructive techniques where they can look under the ground without digging a hole.
Yeah.
And these survey techniques showed patterns of different material.
I was going to say
Now they
patterns
have
of evidence, but that's another program.
we don't yeah we wouldn't want to take their name, but
They do a good
yeah
job,
so
though. Good way to go, Tim
yes
Mahoney.
yeah and we film a lot for them too.
Yeah, I saw you referenced in his latest movie. Yeah,
Last
so
one
pretty
yeah.
neat. Yeah.
So these patterns though they indicate that this has to be something that's not natural, because you find in the outside of the boat formation in the regular dirt and mud flow around it, you don't find these patterns, but
Yeah.
inside the boat formation you see it. And so that got the Turks further involved. And so, starting about a month ago, the local university started doing their own research. They took soil samples and rock samples from around the area and inside the boat, and they're pursuing their own investigation, but they've asked us to partner with them. So we'll talk about that more later.
That's
But
really cool, man. And just so you're aware, when we say the mountains of Ararat, that's what the Bible says. It doesn't say Mount Ararat. So I
yeah,
think maybe
like
there's
right
like a little
behind
bit
me.
of it could, yeah,
Correct.
it could be, but I mean,
Yeah,
it just says the Bible says the mountains of
it's
Ararat.
a
So
bigger
this,
area.
yeah, this isn't on Mount Ararat. It's just adjacent to it, and there's actually a beautiful shot of the ark with Mount Ararat in the background that you've provided there.
Yeah.
So,
So like right
um,
behind me, you see the two famous peaks of the modern day Mount Ararat.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
this is probably a post-flood volcano that erupted after the flood,
Okay,
because the lava and everything around it is lava that happens on dry land.
right.
If this was underwater, if this eruption, it would be called pillow lava, like you see it in Hawaii.
Oh, okay, I thought you
And
were
this
joking
lava,
for a
this
second there.
yeah, so no, but so this volcano behind me, you see in my background image, was probably not even around when the ark landed in this area. So when the Bible says mountains of Ararat, it's just given
The area.
a name of this area, and Ararat was actually the name of a country. So the modern English name Ararat comes from Urartu,
Okay.
which is a name of an ancient kingdom that inhabited this area of eastern Turkey and into parts of like Armenia and Iran. And so this kingdom of Urartu was built up in the mountains of this area. And so that's all Moses wrote. When he wrote Genesis, he said the ark landed in the mountainous region of this country of Ararat. So
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot to really, I guess, that we could discuss in regard to this why this is viewed as Noah's Ark. You've touched on a little bit of it here. You can, if you're interested, you can look up online all kinds of different things. If you're listening to this now and
yeah,
you're interested, there's all kinds of other just little details that seem to line up, but definitely something incredible, something worth seeing for yourself. The location of it, where it's at. I'm kind of the mindset. It seems like the coincidences are too good to be true, so it must be true. So it seems
yeah. I mean,
like
ultimately,
legit.
you're going to have excavations that will prove. You need a
Yeah,
ground truth. But like
yeah,
you're saying, the evidence, these different lines of evidence is pointing to this being a man-made object in the shape of a boat. So what other boat would be out here,
yeah. Right, right,
at the
right.
size of
Yeah,
Noah's Ark? So
yeah.
obviously we don't have a plaque that says Noah and Sons, built this ship.
Oh man,
But
yeah.
someday, hopefully, we could have the
That
Turks,
that piece
dig
of
a hole.
petrified wood that Ron Wyatt
Yeah.
found doesn't on the other side. It doesn't say that. It's not laser
No,
etched.
I did see some, like, made in Taiwan on it, but
Oh, wow! That's where they made Noah's Ark. Man, they build
cheaper.
stuff good. Yeah. So, anyways, it's just incredibly fascinating. The Bible doesn't stand or fall on this being Noah's Ark, but
No,
it,
yeah.
it and but it's really interesting. I mean, I've been enthralled by some of these things by Sinai, by Noah's Ark, a lot of these discoveries of that Ron Wyatt popularized, and I
Hmm.
know you knew Ron Wyatt personally, and spent time getting to know him before he passed away in 1999, and I almost feel like in some ways this is sort of you carrying on his legacy a little bit. I mean, do you ever feel like that or think about that?
I never, well, yeah, I mean, I met him as a kid. When I first talked to him on the phone, I was 13 years old.
Yeah,
And so I used to call him and his wife a lot on the phone. And
you're
then
like,
I
who's
brought
this
him
kid
out to,
calling?
yeah,
That's why you
I
were
had such
patient with my
detailed
son on the
questions.
trip because they were,
Well, yeah, he's like,
your way of paying
kind
it
of
forward.
getting even. Yeah, for what I did to Ron White. So but yeah, I talked to him for hours on the phone until my parents saw the phone bill. They're like, "What's going on? Are you calling Tennessee?" No, this is the early '90s,
Who
so
is
this is
this
before you
guy?
had like unlimited, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
unlimited phone calls. But no, to me, it's a life. It's a dream come true to be out here in the Middle East living, and then participating in biblical archaeology, and then showing people the sites, actually leading tours and
Yeah,
showing people around. I never thought I'd be doing this. I mean, I'm a computer geek. I do programming,
yeah,
and so to be able to be on the ground, living with the locals, talking to the locals, doing these videos on YouTube and sharing the information, it's amazing.
Yeah, super cool. Obviously, I think you're convinced. It's safe to say you're convinced this is Noah's Ark, and that's why you do what you do. And you've invested time into like restoring, I guess, the visitor center that they
Yeah,
built there. I remember a video of when they recognized this. They sacrificed a goat or something.
they did. Yeah, the
With
locals
there's a
there, they're
video of them
kind of
doing that
like,
with Ron Wyatt there,
yeah,
right?
they're cutting the original video. You can see them actually cutting the throat and
Holy
bleeding out the
cow!
animal,
Wow!
and the blood's
Don't
on the ground. It kind of like dedicates the ground.
don't tell PETA.
Um, yeah, it was quite intense watching that. But yeah, that was 1988, and then the
Yeah,
center kind of just languished. People forgot about it, or no one put any more time and money into it.
yeah,
Then in 2017, I believe the government renovated the actual building itself, and like redid the inside, and then just left it.
yeah,
And so within until last year, it was just sitting there. So the toilets didn't work, the plumbing didn't work, the inside had water
Holy cow!
damage,
I
yeah,
mean, it
broken
seems like the
windows.
Ark probably had better plumbing originally,
Yeah, well, the sad
or
thing was when
or
you have
maybe they were
tourists
going for
around
the
the
Ark
world.
experience. Maybe that's what they were trying to.
Yeah, maybe. But the sad thing is you have tourists around the world coming here, and we'd like to have a world-class facility so they can
Yeah,
see and understand the history of the site and the research. And so that's where we got involved, and finally, teaming up with the local village, we're able to do this project that we started, actually on the ground work this last summer.
yeah,
So just, and we finished within a couple months, and we had a dedication ceremony with the local officials and the gendarme commanders were there, and reporters. Then we had my tour group. We scheduled it just right so the tour would be there participating, and so everyone enjoyed being there.
yeah. That's really cool. I guess it's like a big undertaking to do this,
Yeah,
and you can
especially if you don't
actually you
have a
got a good
lot
view of
of.
the Ark. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, we didn't have. One thing, you're in this area. You're like 30 or 40 minutes from the local town, which has the shops and everything. But even those shops, you just think about it. It's not like you can go down to like a Home Depot that has everything
Yeah,
you need. But the locals know what to do. So we hired the right people, and they were able to redo the inside. So what we put inside there, we have new displays explaining the history of the site, mainly with graphics, because you have different people showing up who don't speak English. So we have a lot
yeah,
of graphical displays, photos, and diagrams. We have a fossil area because you find a lot of fossils in this region, and so that's kind of cool. So we've collected many of them, and villagers have donated them to us.
yeah,
We put them in there. All the bathrooms are working finally. We have a media room where we have a television in there that will show the videos that explain the evidence, so people can watch that in Turkish and English. And so, yeah, and then we have actually a little kitchenette, so those who want to just relax and have some Turkish tea, some chai or coffee or whatever, and just enjoy the scenery. It's very
yeah.
peaceful there.
And so it's like when we look at it, we see video of it, and they're doing all the work and construction, and everything. Is it done? Is it finished?
The most part is, yeah. So there's
Okay.
always we're going to add more displays, and this next year we like to do the outdoor the trails for the people to hike down around the boat, and
Okay.
picnic tables and benches
Okay.
to sit.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the landscaping's next year, but this year, yeah, we did finish the inside, and so it's pretty much done. And now it's winter, so it's all shut down because it's actually cold and snowy up there.
Yeah.
But by springtime, so if you go like into March, starting in April, it's really nice to come up and see the boat formation and visit the visitor center.
Yeah. And how could, I mean, you would catch a flight. Let's say somebody wants to go. Maybe they're going
Yeah,
to Israel, but they thought, I'd like to go spend, 2 or 3 days seeing the Ark, or just
yeah, you probably need a
maybe
couple
it's
days
only a
because
6 hour thing. I don't know. I mean, how do you do that? Where do you fly into?
well, the biggest city is Istanbul, and so you fly into Istanbul, Turkey. From there, you can take a couple different domestic flights to the eastern part of Turkey. And as you mentioned earlier,
Okay.
Turkey is a big country, so it's a 2-hour flight, and you get all the way to the very eastern side by the Iranian-Armenian borders. And so there's a town called Agri, or Idir, and these two towns. I'm mispronouncing them, by the way, but the Turks, they have that's their own language, and I'm doing the American version. So Igdir and Agri, that's not how you say it though. But these
Sounds like a
towns have
TV
just two
show.
airports, and it's a 1-hour drive from there to the town of Dobayzet, and then it's a half
Okay.
an hour from there from the hotels in Dobayzet to get up to this site.
Okay. So it's very it's you can travel this. I mean, it's
Oh
not
yeah,
like
yeah,
when
yeah.
people hear the Noah's Ark, like I'd like to go see that. It's almost like I was explaining this to somebody the other day, and I think he had the impression it was like on the side of a mountain. You had to hike the mountain like you do when we go to Sinai,
In the
which you don't
past,
have
you
to hike
did.
Sinai, by the way, either. But we
Yeah.
did. But that's the impression they had. So I mean, this is in a location where I mean, you
And now
basically
there's
drive your
paved
car.
roads. Yeah, you
Yeah,
drive right
there's
up to the
paved
visitor
roads
center.
all the way to the visitor center.
Yeah, and the
Right.
locals will
Yeah.
let you walk down into the ravine and down in the valley there, and to walk around the boat. But yeah, it's very doable. I've meet people from around the world there when I'm up there. Chinese, a lot of Europeans go there, Russians, and of course Americans. And so it's great when you just sit there
Wow.
on the weekend. I go up there, and then you just meet all these international people coming through. And so then I help. I try to explain what they're looking at, but it's a great.
And how do some of these people respond to this? I mean, are they sort of convinced going in that this is Noah's Ark, or I mean, is there
No,
anybody that shows up and they're like
it's
they
I
get convinced after they go?
Well, I think it's half and half because you do have a lot of locals too. And so when
Yeah.
they go to this area, now this is kind of an unexplored or a place in Turkey where not a lot of tourists go to. Most people go to like Cappadocia or the coast on the west, Ephesus and the seven churches.
Yeah.
But Eastern Turkey, you don't get a lot of tourists. So, but you do, more and more are coming out there. So those who do come out here, they want to look up like what to do in the area. So you can climb Mount Ararat, a big volcano. It's a 3-day hike, or you can like see a local Ottoman palace called Ishak Pasha, and then you have Noah's Ark. And so they see on the map this location. They'll come up there without knowing all the evidence, and that's why in the past they had an empty building, and the local guy who like kind of runs the place doesn't really know what to say to them, and he's only speaks Turkish. So now we have these displays, and we'll have more.
And you got a sign too. It's
Yeah.
saying this is it. This
Yeah,
is the
Noah's
right
Ark.
place.
But yeah, so when they come, and then if I meet them, we have a flip chart that's mainly graphics, like 50 pages long. We kind of flip through the history shown from 1959 all the way to the results of the recent geophysical scans. And we met like leaders in the military in Turkey there. We've had the ambassador, some European country, and we had some NATO people show up. So yeah, it's really interesting. You never know who you're gonna get out there, and sometimes the governor would show up. And so
Oh
yeah,
wow.
we do our best to explain what the evidence is, and a lot of people are shocked. I mean, some they're honest. They say, "Well, I'm not convinced yet," or "Why
Yeah.
haven't you excavated?" But a lot of people are truly interested. I've met atheists out there. One guy came from China, and he was an
Wow.
atheist, but he said he wanted to see it because he's heard about this site. But even though he's not a believer, he wanted to see the site himself.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine. Tell us a little bit more about some of the work you said. You mentioned you're doing work with the university, the state. What is
Yeah.
that? I mean,
So,
what kind of
well,
tests? What are they looking for? I mean, what are you helping them do? What's the relationship like?
Yeah, so we just had a meeting. This is brand new information. Just 2 days ago, on Friday, we had a meeting with the local university. So the local university, which is the main government university there, they've taken control of the project, and they've teamed up with a university out of Istanbul. And so they're
Okay.
basically doing the research from here on out on the site. Now, and I was talking to the vice rector of this university, who's the co-president or chairman of the project, and he was saying that all these scientists involved from the Istanbul University, for example, they're all PhD holders who got their PhDs in America, and they really want to do a professional job at investigating this site more than has ever been done. So again, in the past, everything that's been done has been maybe some soil samples or geophysical surveys, which are like radar scanning or electrical tomography using electricity to scan below the ground, and so they want to take it beyond that, but they're going to do their own tests. So they're putting the program together. They took initial soil samples and rock samples a month ago. And now it's wintertime, so they're testing those. Within a couple months, they'll get the results, and then from there, they're going to build the plan to move forward. So what they've asked us to be involved with is the number one funding part of the project.
Okay.
Number two, doing a promotion and helping to organize the next Noah's Ark Symposium, which is a conference they hold every 2 years in that province about the topic of Noah's Ark. And this year they want to hold it on site at the newly renovated visitor center. And so they've asked us to help bring in international speakers and scientists to present papers about the region or
Oh,
about the
wow.
topic of Noah's Ark. So if you know somebody, get in contact with us because whether they're a creationist or someone else who's interested in this region, they can present a paper. So this usually happens in October every 2 years. And so this next year, in 2023, is the next one. And so they've asked us to help promote that and bring in scientists. And then also just to make the media aware and get the local scientists connected with Western media to do the interviews and to film what they're doing. And so
And this
that
was just showcased on a national
this
TV show that was
and
just
in Israel so we have a good friend. In fact, you interviewed Ohab
yeah,
earlier.
yeah, yeah.
He
Hi,
has been
Ohav.
interested in this site. He's been interested in this site too, and so he has been an awesome promoter and helping get the word out in the country of Israel. And so they just did a big story about the renovation, and yeah, so that's one example. We've also been on cable television in America, via Science Channel and History Channel.
I saw you on CBN as well. Did you?
Yes,
That
well,
might have
the
been from a couple
CBN.
years ago.
Well, CBN just did a story about Mount Sinai, and so
Okay.
we were on there for Mount Sinai, not about Noah's Ark. Now, Chuck, who was the reporter for that story, he did contact us actually in 2016, wanted to do a story about this site, and so hopefully in the future we can have that happen still for
Yeah.
CBN.
Yeah. Cool, man. I believe this was all was this what you discussed in this meeting that you just had with the
Yeah, with
this big meeting?
Dr. Kaya,
Okay.
he's the
And
vice
tell us a little bit
president for
about that.
operations. Yeah, so he's been a good friend with us and helped just giving us advice and discussing what we can do on the project. And so when they finally announced that they're taking over the work, which we knew it was coming up, that they would make this announcement, we decided to go meet with him and discuss. Okay, so what's the best way moving forward that we can be involved in this project and help them? Because our goal is to help the local scientists and the university out and to promote the site. We bring in tours, and so people can see it. And so they mentioned some of the things we could help with, from funding to helping organize the symposium with the scientists.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're very excited. Now we're looking for things to ramp up after the winter. Right now, things are kind of slow there because it's cold and snowy. But starting in the springtime, we'll have more information to give about this project and what will be going on the ground as the scientists work.
Yeah, really cool. And you're doing a great job there. It's just been really neat to see everything, be a part of it, experience so much of it in person. I look forward to getting to see the Ark someday.
Yes, you need to
getting
come
there to
out.
Turkey.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do want to check that out. And if somebody, let's say they think, wow, I got to see that. I want to go check that out. I mean, they can just maybe reach out to you through
Uh,
discoveredsinai.com. Is there a
We do have a link there. I mean, they can use the
okay?
contact page. That's a different topic. But for those who are interested in like the research being done, past and present, in the news, and also to sign up for tours, they go to noahsarkscans.com. So
Okay.
that's
All right.
noahsarkscans.com. And that has information in the menu about all the different research. We have a lot of
Okay.
papers published on there for and against the site. We're not hiding anything. So if you want to read up about those who say it's not Noah's Ark,
Yeah.
it's on our site. You can link and download the PDF files. If you want to read about it, why it is Noah's Ark, you can do that. We have the tour link there on how to sign up for a tour. Now, we'll have
Awesome.
dates published, though, hopefully by end of the month. But for now, yeah, just go to that website if you want more information.
And I mean, somebody could go. You're not doing a tour in March, formal tour. I mean, if somebody,
Yeah, they want to
obviously,
go on their own.
if they
I
want to go
do
on their own or
suggest
meet you
after.
there, or maybe just reach out to you somehow, I guess.
Yeah, they can
And
reach out through the website, and I can give them tips. If they want to go on their own, no problem. We help people
yeah,
out a lot that way too. And so, but we do suggest after the winter because right now you
yeah,
can't see much and it's cold there. So, starting in March onward, I think are good times to go see the site.
okay. And how do people donate?
NoahsArkScans.com.
Awesome.
There's a donation link, and we also partner with Ryan Moreau's Doubting Thomas Research Foundation for tax deductible gifts, and so that is also linked on the NoahsArkScans.com website.
Good stuff. Well, thank you again, Andrew. It's been a pleasure. Every time I talk to you, I feel like there's more questions I have and things that could be explored. So we'll have you on again,
Thanks, Steve.
and we'll talk. And just keep doing what you're doing, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I know that people who watch this, so much of what we know and see we're dependent upon people doing work like you're doing. I think about Ron Wyatt, and I think about the fact that he sort of made this Sinai and some of these things more well known than they were. If he hadn't done, a lot of what he did, I mean, we wouldn't probably be here talking about it today.
Well, it's true. Yeah. He was
So
controversial, but at the same time, you can't deny that the reason why we're here talking about this is because he put in a lot of sweat and blood to
yeah,
make these, do the initial research.
yeah, amen. And the same goes to you. Thank you for everything that you've done, and you're making a way for people to experience this in person. So thank you, appreciate it. And so thank you, Andrew. I'm gonna close things up here. I guess I'm gonna say goodbye to you. Appreciate you coming on. And I'm gonna for all of you, I like to close up just with a word of prayer. So I'm going to I'm just thinking about some of these locations and some of the different things that we've done and we do here. We want to see people grow in their faith. That's what I know I'm all about. And even the people with Andrew's group, and they're studying these things. They're looking at them to help people become believers. We just had someone on the show a couple weeks ago, Ohav, who really these things created faith in him. They turned him away from atheism. Going and studying these specific locations. And so if that's you and you feel like, you want God to speak to you, I want you to pray with me right now. Just say this prayer. Be open-minded to what God might want to do in your life. So just pray these words with me right now, and I believe God will answer this prayer. Lord Jesus, I feel like I need you. I don't really understand all of the things that I see in the Bible. Some of them seem too hard to believe. And so, Lord, I just want to ask you that you would help me to see the work that you've done. Help me to look with eyes of faith and give me evidence. Not that faith needs total evidence, but give me some evidence as to the things that you're saying and whether or not they are true, the things we read about in the Bible. So I just give you my heart, and I ask that, Lord, you become real to me. In Jesus' name, amen. So if you did say that prayer, I believe God is going to answer it. He always does. That's how God moves. That's how God works. And Andrew, I want to thank you again, my friend, for coming on the show with us here today. You've been an incredible blessing, and I will look forward to talking to you again. To everyone else, God bless you. I hope you have a tremendous, tremendous Christmas season, because 'tis the season. God bless you. And don't forget, if you want to partner with this ministry in any way, to go to pastoraj.com. You can do that. And God bless you. We'll see you next time.